Mainstream entertainment. Ruslan.
Yeah, so basically I don't know exactly how to phrase it, but I just been having this issue, so I was just looking for some advice on it. Basically, I don't know if it's something that is like, just part of the creative process and I just need to go through it, or if it's like I should make an adjustment. So basically, I remember the other day you were talking about making the music that like you're comfortable making, that you're good at, like I think it was you were watching somebody that did like the Andy Mineo submission, the contest,
Mm-hmm.
and you were saying like you wouldn't do like that fast rap, like that, because like that's not you. But so basically my question is like, I go through a lot of different moods, like a lot of different vibes music wise, both listening and writing. So like one day I'll be in the mood to write to like some old school boom bap, and I think I flow really well over that. But then the next day I might be feeling some trap stuff, and honestly, like, not to sound cocky, but like I think I can write to that really well too. But then when I record the music, since I go through these different moods, I'm like, I'll record something and then like the next day I'll think it really sucks, and I don't know if it's just I need more practice in these different areas, or if like I'm reaching and like I should just be trying to stick to one type, or or maybe I'm just being impatient and I'm not giving myself enough time to practice. But so basically, like, would your advice be to like, if I really do feel like in the mood to be right into all the different type of stuff, or if I should try to like narrow it down to find like what I really should be doing. I don't know if that makes any sense,
That is a great question. Okay, so yes, all the above. I totally get your question. So here's the thing. The question is, we can get on like a big picture metaphysical purpose level, and we can narrow it down to art specifically. And this is what I mean by big picture. It's a similar question of like, what is your purpose, right? What is your purpose in life? To assume that anyone's purpose in life is strictly what they're passionate about is silly. It's just not the truth, right? There are a lot of things that people are passionate about that weren't monetizable. Great example. People were passionate about video games 15, 20 years ago. It wasn't monetizable. I used to play a ton of Call of Duty. There wasn't a real market for it yet. And then 5 years later, the industry shifted. All of a sudden, it became a way to monetize it, right? So it's not just about your passion. One of the things that's very deceptive from a macro standpoint is like, just follow your passion. Well, there's a lot of things that you're passionate about that you may not have the providence or the timing or the need to achieve, right? Big picture. So when it comes to music, right, we could just talk about like, man, just follow your passion. Do whatever you want to do. Make whatever you want to make. And it's like, yeah, it's not good advice. That's not good advice, right? It's just not. It's awful life advice, if I'm being all the way honest with you guys. Somebody just telling you to follow your dreams and follow your passions is not giving you good life advice. You have to add this to it. What are you passionate about? What are you good at? Okay? What are you passionate about? What are you good at? I'm very passionate about basketball. I use this as a metaphor. It's a joke in a way, but it's real. Like, it's the realest joke in my life. Gosh, I really thought I was going to the NBA. 8th grade year, 9th grade year, I really thought I was going to make it to the NBA. I was very passionate. I had the work ethic. I had the jump soles. I had the ankle weights. I had the chest weights. I did everything. My legs to this day are massive. If you ever see me in person, I got these big old quads because I did so many squats and calf raises as a kid because I thought I was going to go to the NBA, right? I thought I was LeBron, except I didn't have the 1.5 million he spends on his body. Like, I thought I was on that trajectory. Guess what? I was passionate about it. I was not good at it, right? I wasn't good at it. So, when it comes to music, what are you passionate about? Cool, right? What are you passionate about? What are you good at? What are you actually gifted to do? Okay? Now, let's dig a little deeper. What are you passionate about? What are you good at? What's needed in the marketplace? What's needed in the marketplace? If I'm passionate about basketball and I'm good at basketball, but I'm at a high school that doesn't have great coaching, that doesn't have relationships to colleges, to D1 schools, that doesn't have any stars that came from that high school that can give me the attention, that doesn't, right? And there's the year that I happen to be a senior, there's just some weird influx of a 500 extra basketball players that are just better than me. I'm still good and I'm still passionate about it, but there's no need for me in the marketplace by the sheer number of extra really good basketball players in that window of time. So then I got to consider something else, right? This is why it's so much easier. So many of my friends made it to the NBA, made it to the NFL. I know a lot of people in the NFL who played in the NFL that play in the NFL. I don't know anybody that's made it to the NBA, just sheer number of people on a team, right? The athleticism is the same. A lot of the guys that have played in the NFL are actually phenomenal at basketball, but you have to be better at basketball because there's less demand for it. Now let's bring it to your music career. You may be good at multiple things. You could do the boom bap stuff. You could do the wavy auto-tune stuff. You could do a bunch of different things. I haven't heard your music. I don't remember hearing your music, so I don't know, right? But one, let's just figure out what are you good at, and then package that with what's missing in the marketplace. What's actually needed in the marketplace. If you are passionate about making wavy auto-tune music, and you're good at making wavy autotune music. Yeah. But there's 25 other Christian hip hop artists that make good wavy autotune music, and they're bigger than you, and they're in the right high school, and they live in the right city, and they're connected with everybody in that city. It doesn't really matter because there's not going to be a need for it, right? There's less of a need. You're competing with more people to try to cut through to get attention as a wavy autotune Christian hip hop rapper. So that's what I mean. Now, here's all of this with the caveat to say that at some point, and I don't know when that point is, but at some point when you do develop a large enough audience, you do need to start showing range as an artist. You do need to start showing creative range. Kanye got in the door with a specific unique sound. It was high-pitched, soulful vocal samples, right? And he got through the door that way. He gave us 2 good albums and a bunch of classic beats. And then he started dabbling more into the commercial side with Graduation. So he gave us 3 classic albums. And then he goes in for 808s and Heartbreak and makes this commercial auto-tune, super duper artsy record that he thinks to this day that and Yeezus are his best records, right? And then because that record wasn't as well received, then he went back to My Beautiful Dark and Twisted Pet Fantasy, which he said was an apology album because he felt like it didn't resonate. 808s and Heartbreak didn't resonate as well as his other stuff. So he went back and did My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy as an apology album. You know what I mean? And then did the compilation, so on and so forth. So you have to understand all of these different variables. Self-awareness is key. In my example, there's way less people making soulful, boom bap, hip hop, and lo-fi is very in right now. But there's not even a ton of like lo-fi rappers. Too. Yeah, and so you just have to work through that process. So yes, initially I would say dial it in. Laser sharp on one specific sound. People should know what they're getting when they're going to you. I know that doesn't feel authentic as an artist, but that literally is what it takes, right? To build up an audience. People should know what they're getting from you. The production should sound the same. The song structure should sound the same. I mean, goodness gracious, look at the guys who are independent that are making it. I remember working, me and Nick D had been working on this record forever, and all of his songs are formatted the same way. And he just told me the format. I'm not going to tell you guys the format, but if you listen to them, they're all formatted the same way. If you listen to everything Toby did prior to him cracking like 200,000 followers, everything was formatted the same way. It was the same time. And now he's doing singy stuff and he has like artistic stuff in the mix, but everything is formatted the same. A lot of Russ's stuff sounds the same. It has the same bounce. It has the same flow, the same cadences, the same freaking kick and snare, right? Because he formulated, and then when Russ becomes a pop star and a pop icon, then he starts mixing it up and switching it up. Post Malone comes in with a very emo trap sound. Then when he blows up, he starts doing the more alternative stuff, and he starts playing a guitar and wearing Crocs, right? You come in and you get your foot in the door a specific way, then you switch it up. And so I think you have to factor that stuff in, man. Is like, what are you good at? What are you passionate about? And what's missing? And if what you're good at and what you're passionate about isn't what's missing, it's going to be 100 times harder for you to make it. So my advice to you would be create your own sound. Create your own sound that's missing in the marketplace. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. Create your own sound that's missing in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So stuff I would be following, people I would be paying close attention to right now is guys like Nick D. Pay close attention to Nick D. You should be active and engaged with everything Nick is doing. I would be following folks like Griselda.
I was just going to say, you're reading my mind. I was just going to say that.
So pay attention to what those people are doing. Pay attention to what those people are doing and how they're struggling. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I had this vision in my head because, like, I don't listen to Griselda anymore because, like, it's like, I don't know, it's like really negative. But, like, from an artist standpoint, like, I love their style. Like, I love it. I love the gritty boom bap beats. And I think that's missing from Christian hip hop, like the real gritty New York City sounding, beats and their flow and like the aggressiveness and the wordplay. Because like my best rhyming is like the intricate, a lot of different rhyme schemes, like, so I had this vision in my mind, like, I think it would be really cool because like that would be a new thing to introduce into Christian hip hop. And that could be my sound I create is like the Griselda of Christian hip hop. I'll be hearing trap beats.
What you have to do is you also need to critically think through what makes Griselda commercially appealing enough, right?
Yeah.
There are specific things that they do, from the name brand drops to the aesthetic, how they dress, to the way the songs are structured. There's specific things that they do that you have to figure out to do. I mean, high fashion and hypebeast culture is a massive community, and they're a part of that community, right? And that community, how are they a part of that community? Well, because they were street guys who had a lot of dope money and are able to buy the latest Virgil design, the latest, Fear of God. Do you have that type of revenue? Like, you see what I'm saying? So you gotta also attach yourself to something else to make it a bit more viable and a bit more commercial in terms of the Griselda thing. But that they're great. That is who I would be paying attention to. Because those are two things that are emerging and exploding right now, right before our very eyes. So, good question, man. Let's keep it moving.
Kingstream Entertainment.
Cool, thank you.
Ruslan.